Because he didn't even ask for like the hologram. He just like shouted for Emmett, and he shows up.
Yes, I loved him. I thought he was, and between him and then just like Rios being himself the captain, those two said so many bad words in Spanish. Like, I don't even know. I don't think the censors understood what they were allowing on. And if you speak Spanish, y'all know what I'm talking about. He said some pretty vulgar things in Spanish, which always makes me giggle whenever I hear naughty words in any language. It always makes me laugh. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty great. I
mean,
just fun to watch, though. Like, just no matter what role he was playing, just fun to watch this actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Maybe I hope he gets to be in more things where he can really push himself because of this. You know, it's sort of like how I feel about Dan Stevens, how he was in Downton Abbey, and it was kind of like, okay, yeah, he's fine, and then you see him in other stuff, and it's like, oh no, he gets better. He can actually do a little more stuff than I thought. Like, that's kind of how I feel, because I mean, like I keep saying, I watched The Musketeers, and I wasn't like, yeah, he's the best Musketeer or anything, because I don't feel like he didn't get to like stretch as much as he did in this. So, you know, give him a chance, Hollywood.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, and I remember like when we were going through his like filmography on IMDb, he had been in so many things that I've watched, and I just I'm like, why have I never noticed him before? And I think the comparison to Dan Stevens is a really accurate one, because as much as I love him in Downton Abbey, and I love the show Downton Abbey, Matthew is not exactly like he's a bit of a bland character, but they're all a little bit bland because they're British. Sorry, British people, but you know it's true.
They're like upper crust British.
Yes,
so that
upper, which is different. Yes, absolutely.
What is a weekend? Yeah, they don't have any idea.
Yeah, exactly. So to see him then take on a role, then to see him in like the Beauty and the Beast remake, which I personally really enjoyed and liked him in, and then to see him in like a show like Legion, which is like so out there and a really different role for him, or any actor really, to play. I think your comparison is a really good one, because I almost feel like I know I've seen him in other things, but why have I never noticed him? Maybe I just never noticed his range before. Maybe I just didn't realize he's such a good actor, because maybe he didn't have the parts to show me.
Right.
And now this part, he showed me, wow, this guy's a really good actor. I want to see him in a whole lot more stuff too. Like, I also hope that he gets, give him more roles, Hollywood. I want more Santiago Cabrera in my life.
For sure.
Let's talk a little bit about, this is a hard, how do we say this? But like, let's talk about Daj and Soji. The funny thing is, from the previews, from the trailers for Picard, there was so much focus on Daj that we were like, okay, so she's going to be the main lead. Gotcha. And then she dies in the first episode. Right. And then we were like, wait, what? All this build up to Daj just to find out that she dies? And I even remember saying in that first episode, she's not dead. They beamed her away. She's going to come back. And then, of course, I was totally wrong. And then it's really Soji who's the main character.
It's good of you to admit you were wrong.
Well, I mean, you know.
I'm kidding.
I know, right? The effing hubris to think that I know how it's going to work out.
I know, that's I say that to you all the time.
It's true, she does, everybody. So then to see Issa Briones playing this dual role, Daj is only in one episode, and then it's really all about Soji.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Issa Briones was great. Especially when... So earlier this year in February, we were at C2E2 in Chicago. I went to the Picard panel that she did with Evagora, and she said that she did not know she would be playing twins until after she had signed on.
Yeah. Well, she didn't know that she was going to be another set of twins either.
Indeed. And then she's really playing, even though we don't really see Jaina, she really played 4 characters. One we never saw on screen, but then we saw the other 3. And they're all to be, I don't know how Jaina was supposed to be, but I would imagine all individually different, because certainly Daj and Soji were different. And then when we met the android, the other android who looked like her, what was her name again? Because I kept confusing them. Was she Saga? No, she wasn't Saga.
No, she was
Sutra.
Yes,
Sutra. That was her name. So her playing Sutra was a very different character. But I thought, overall, like Soji's journey, as we watch Soji learn that she's an android, and then, of course, be betrayed by Narek, and then being thrust into the situation with Picard and him telling her, you have to trust me. But by the time they meet up, he knows a lot about her, but she knows nothing about him. And, of course, we as the audience know about both of them, but when she is forced to basically trust him or not, and she decides to trust him, that's a huge step for her, because she's just been betrayed by this man that she had feelings for him, and she thought he had feelings for her too. But yeah, tell me what you thought about Soji's journey from beginning to end.
Well, I have to say, we knew Picard a lot more
in
general, so that was sort of an interesting thing being the audience. But like, it was different. Daj automatically knew that she knew Picard somehow and that she could trust him and go to him, but Soji hadn't had that click in her mind, and she just had to like make up her own mind about it, even though she wasn't sure if things that she was thinking were her own mind. Yeah, it was I liked her whole arc. Like, obviously we were like, we thought all of those clips of her with Narek were Daj, but we were wrong. Like, how is this happening? Anyway, but no, honestly, you kind of, once you get into the series, you almost forget that Daj was ever around, because then it's because Soji's story. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, she just kept getting herself into these situations, like the intercourse boy. God. Oh yeah, I think I'm falling in love with you. Well, good for you, buddy. Like, I like how she later was just like, forget you or whatever kind of thing. You left me to die in that room. Of course, it took him doing that for her to be mad at it. But, she's a robot. She had to learn. She's an android.
Yeah. But I think, too, like, I think all of us have fallen for the wrong person. Like, it's not even a man-woman thing. I think every person has fallen for the wrong person. Like, and you don't see that they're a garbage person or a toxic person until they do something that's so toxic that you're like, oh my God, why did I never see that you were a terrible person all this time? We've excused their behavior maybe because we liked them, or we thought we loved them, or we defended them even to our friends, kind of a thing.
Well, she didn't even really have friends, A, and B, she was supposed to keep it secret anyway.
Exactly. So it's like she didn't even have like a best friend that could tell her, what are you doing with that guy? He's terrible. Like, anyone can see that he's just a jerk. Oh, she didn't have that.
He wants to keep it secret. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't go on with that.
Yeah, exactly. But you could see that she was wrapped up in this relationship because he was so like intense with her. And, I'll keep saying this, that, when we first meet him, he's like, oh, I'm so sad because my brother died and I've never really been the same. Maybe you can fix me. And that's such a really terrible thing that a lot of manipulative people use. They use grief and guilt and sad emotions to guilt and trick people into taking care of them until they suck all the life out of you. And it's just like,
It's like, if I had $1 for every time I had told my ex-husband that I could have used like tragedies in his life to like manipulate him and make him feel bad, I would have a lot of money right now, because I know that I could have done it, but I didn't do it. And people do that kind of crap all the time. Either using your life against you or using their life to make you feel bad for them. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why people do that. It's just mean.
I agree, but I think it's one of those things where I feel like there's always going to be toxic people around you in your life, right? Or who will try to come into your life. And it's up to, Soji didn't see that until much later on, that Narek was a toxic person. I think her journey from being sort of this very naive person who thinks that she's had like a regular childhood and a regular upbringing and all of that, to finding out that she, to being betrayed by the man that she loved, or at least had feelings for, and she thought that he loved her as well, and then finding out she's an android, and then finding the planet of the androids, and then finding out that there are other artificial intelligent life out there who were like, hey, if ever you need us, here's our phone number, just call us and we'll show up. She went from being almost like a very timid, I want to say almost like a mousy person, to being this like incredibly strong, almost a leader of her people. And that's a one heck of a journey to go on, to, from being quiet, mild-mannered scientist to being leader of the androids. I mean, that's right. That's pretty epic. And then
her and Agnes kind of had similar arcs.
Yes, they did. I agree.
So that was kind of interesting, since Agnes is like, I'm not their mother.
Yes, absolutely. Like, and even like with Agnes in that moment, this was like a perversion of the androids that she and Bruce had imagined or envisioned. And then to be like, oh, you're like their mother. She's like, these ain't my kids. I didn't raise these kids, that kind of thing. But like Soji, to find out that she had a whole planet full of people who were just like her, and she finally fit in. She finally understood, like, these are my people. And she did get swept up in that whole, like, organics just want to destroy us. And certainly a lot of that had to do with what Sutra did, and how she, how they were able to replay the admonition, which really was never meant for organic people. It was meant for artificial intelligent people.
Do you?
It really affected her. Like, it really made her into this person who took a stand and said, I'm going, even though it wasn't a great stand, but she took a stand and said, I'm going to call these people and we're going to, fight off all the organics, and we're going to not have anybody stand in our way. We'll just,